Here are 10 reasons why USC beats Michigan State this Saturday night. It's a weird spot for both teams, with Michigan State kicking off at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and USC doesn't usually kick off at 8 p.m. local time. But here we are. It is an intriguing matchup. I've already made a video previewing this game and giving a prediction for it. Link in the top right corner of your screen for that Michigan State versus USC preview video, where I picked USC to win and even picked them to cover despite being a pretty massive 17.5 point favorite. And we'll get into why I think USC should win this game pretty convincingly in most scenarios, in most simulations of this game, if we could simulate this game 1,000 or a few thousand times, as ESPN's FPI and a lot of power ratings try to do. I've also made a video, again, top right corner of your screen, discussing Michigan State's path to upsetting USC. Please click on those videos if you haven't already watched them. Watch them all the way through. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell. And also, do those things for this video. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for the channel, and make sure to hit the notification bell for the USC and Michigan State football playlists, podcasts that are attached to the video. Comment your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this game. If you're a Trojan fan, what are you nervous about or excited for? Same thing if you're a Spartan fan. Let's get right to it, though. And first, I think the biggest reason, most important reason why USC will win this game is their offensive edge. They are averaging 0.868 points per offensive play compared to Michigan State's 0.464. Didn't include the points per play number abbreviation there. I didn't include the numbers, but I figured in spelling it out that would be good enough. Anyway, the number 0.868, while it may not seem all that big, is nearly double the size of the number 0.464. Not quite, but it's nearly double the size. USC scores almost double more points per one of their plays compared to one of Michigan State's plays. And Michigan State's offense is pretty good, I would say, based on the film that I've watched and what I've seen of their quarterback, Aiden Giles. After all, they have a 50% success rate passing the football, and they have a 42.9% success rate running the football. Their success rate is in the green, according to Game on Paper, so it's an above-average good success rate. USC, though, has a 58.8% success rate overall, over 60 through the air, 56.5% on the ground, and their adjusted expected points added per play, which is EPA per play adjusting for home field advantage, quality of opponent, and garbage time. USC leads the nation there with a 0.49 expected points added per play over every one, and that's their offense. Adjusted expected points added per play overall, like the margin, is plus 0.65 for USC. USC right now is leading the nation in a variety of statistical categories. Defense is a part of it, but it's mainly their efficient offense. It feels like Lincoln Riley's offense is back to what we expect it to be, where last year was kind of a big bump in the road. They also have a vastly superior defense. Let's not get this mistaken. USC's opponents have an expected points added per play that is below average, a negative 0.13, 0 being average. 0 means you move the football and score like an average team would. Below average, pretty self-explanatory. Michigan State's defense is below average because their opponents score and move the ball at an above average rate in the FBS. Now, I think that it is a above average good defense FBS wise, but in the power leagues, it's a defense with a lot of different questions. USC just doesn't quite have that, in my opinion. I think that ultimately USC has a defense that is better, bigger, deeper, and stronger. I mean, Devin Tompkins, Jeed Abasiri, Jamal Jarrett, Keyshawn Silver, they have multiple defensive tackles above 300 pounds, more than Michigan State does. Cameron Fountain and Anthony Lucas are more talented than Michigan State's defensive ends. Jalen Thompson and I believe I forget his name, but he transferred in from Air Force. David Santiago. Remembered that name. USC's defense is just better, and D'Anton Lynn is also a better defensive coordinator than Joe Rossi, even though I do have a lot of respect for Joe Rossi. So right out of the gate, we have a team that is better offensively, better defensively. And while Michigan State is strong at wide receiver, I would argue Michigan State is stronger there, or USC is stronger there. Michigan State is stronger in terms of depth, I would argue. That's only if Nick Marsh is healthy, though. But Makai Lemon and Jacoby Lane are future NFL wide receivers. So USC off the bat has two of those. Michigan State really just has one in Nick Marsh, from what I can tell right now. Makai Lemon leads USC currently in receiving yards and receptions. 16 receptions for 311 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jacoby Lane has 9 receptions for 239 yards and a touchdown. Jayden Maiava right now is leading America in QBR, and a huge part of why that is his receivers can get behind defenses. They can also go over the top of defenses and make contested catches. Number 4 is Jayden Maiava. That's reason number 4. He's first in QBR with 8 total touchdowns, and even in his worst game against Purdue, worst game so far this season, he has averaged 10.1 yards per attempt in that game, and he's averaging, I think, above 14 yards per attempt overall in the season. That's pretty insane. That's wonderful efficiency. His passer rating currently is a 215.5, 2 rushing touchdowns, 6 passing scores, 989 yards. So he's averaging over 300 passing yards per game. And he's completing 68.6% of his throws. He looks much better than he did last year, almost like a completely different quarterback. And that's a good sign. It bodes well for USC moving forward. It bodes well for them in this game where Michigan State's defense is, I mean, look, they allowed 40 points to Boston College, 24 to Youngstown State, and a huge part of the reason why that is because Michigan State's defense through the air still has a ton of questions. I mean, they are allowing about, 6.64 yards per pass attempt. That's no bueno. That's not good enough, especially given the opponents they've played so far. They have yet to play USC, Penn State, Nebraska. Michigan could have a better passing offense than Boston College. USC should have a lot of matchup edges, and several of them through the air against the Spartans. Number 5 is the deep running back group. So Michigan State's defense is decent at stopping the run, but I think that with 720 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns, averaging 7 yards per carry, you have a lot to handle. And 7 yards per carry isn't even accounting for sacks, I don't believe. In fact, looking at just yards per rush, which I believe is sack adjusted, from GameOnPaper.com, USC's averaging 7.7 yards per carry. That leads the nation outside of Old Dominion, and Old Dominion has a mobile QB who's more comfortable running the football than Maiava, and I imagine Lincoln Riley doesn't want Jayden Maiava to run the football a ton unless they have to win games, and to this point, he's been able to pull him out late in the fourth quarter in most matchups and put in Hassan Longstreet and just ground it. The deep running back room with Waymon Jordan, with Eli Sanders, with King Miller and Brian Jackson, it's an impressive group. A lot of them transfers, the two deep players are, but Brian Jackson recruited to USC and King Miller as well, and they look good in the limited action that they have had. Reason number 6, linebackers, specifically Eric Gentry, who's a certified stud. I think that USC has had problems in run defense. I think a big part of the reason why that is the fact that they're not where they need to be defensively, and yet they're running a scheme in, a 4-2-5 defense that's Ravens style. It's very similar to Michigan's, where if you want to run that defense and have success in stopping the run, you need defensive tackles. Michigan's defense in 2021, the first year they ran that, had a ton of success. They had a wonderful pass defense, mostly because of pass rush, and their corners dramatically improved. But they had issues stopping the run because their defensive tackles were not NFL worthy. They slowly changed this in 2022. It really peaked in 2023 and 2024, And this year, even though they've taken a step back there, it's still much better than where it was in 2021. I don't think USC right now has the defensive tackles to be an elite run defense with the scheme they have. That makes what Eric Gentry does at 6'6", 225 pounds, with 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles on the year already, that much more important. To plug the gap, to be the quarterback of the defense, and I think he does a pretty good job at that. I had him as a preseason All-American, and if he keeps putting these numbers up and playing as he has for the first 3 games, he will earn those honors nationally. Number 7 is USC safety play, with Bishop Fitzgerald, who's already had a pick 6, and Kamari Ramsey, who was a proven safety last season. This will help USC limit some of the big play capability that Michigan State has, where Childs is more accurate now, Nick Marsh is paired with Amari Kelly, and Masunis has broken out at tight end along with Velling getting healthy again. And Michigan State's offensive line's a little bit better, so they can let some of these plays develop at a rate they couldn't last year. Having good safeties is going to be so critical, especially if Nick Marsh is healthy for Michigan State. Because, as I said in my preview and prediction video for this game, I think USC wins, but I don't think they win because of their defense. I think Michigan State's going to score points. I just think USC's offense is more consistent. It's better. They also have the better defense. So USC will simply force more punts, and Michigan State will get buried. But having that safety valve in the safety play that they have to prevent big plays, while I don't think Michigan State will prevent big plays that well, is critical. Reason number 8, Michigan State is to travel. They're traveling across 4 time zones, Eastern, Central, Mountain, you arrive in Pacific. You are going from one time zone to another. You are changing your biological clock, to be frank. And you are also going to an environment in LA that might be a little bit distracting, if we're being honest with ourselves. Completely different environment, different climate, different weather, thousands of miles across from almost the East Coast, or at least the Great Lakes, which connects to the Atlantic Ocean and is a part of the East Coast, all the way to the West Coast in California. That's going to be hard for Michigan State to deal with, and on top of that, with the late kickoff, that really benefits USC. It will be 2 or 3 a.m. for Michigan State by the time this game ends. I'll try to stay up as someone who's in the Eastern time zone to watch all of it. For USC, the game will end at like 11 p.m. or maybe midnight, as a lot of night games do, 11:30. But for Michigan State, it will end super late, and that's going to be a challenge for them, and I think that'll help USC pull away. Number 10, and this is more anecdotal than anything else, but I think that USC and Lincoln Riley are playing angrily, I think. I think they are playing hard. They want to show that they can play in the Big Ten and dominate there. So I expect them to come out here at home after a somewhat disappointing performance against Purdue and win big. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, not just for the channel, but also for the USC and Michigan State team playlists, podcasts attached to the video, and comment your thoughts down below. Those are the 10 reasons why I think USC is going to win this game and likely cover that 17.5 point spread. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all very soon.